10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Hello everyone, this is Shaitan bringing you another game from the Korean server, this time between the blue Protoss spawning in the southwest position on Tal'Darim Altar. He is ZenexYong, a very highly ranked player on the Korean Grandmaster. He actually hasn't had that much tournament success in the Korean scene after dropping in the first round of the first open season of GSL. He's been participating in the ESV Korean weekly tournaments, as well as participating occasionally in some of the TL Opens where he's had some success, taking first place in one and second place in another. Meanwhile, in the southeast corner, we have the man that needs no introduction at all, Incredible Miracles IMNestea, spawning with the Red Zerg, a 3-time GSL champion, and a man with one of the most feared ZvPs in all of the world. We do see ZenexYong doing the very standard forward pylon. He's probably going to be doing a forge expansion, and he's scouting the right direction, so he's going to be able to stop the hatchery of IMNestea from going down with a little bit of good micro, so IMNestea is going to be forced to go pool first. That's not really that big of a deal in a tournament setting, because you can follow it up with a hatchery a little bit later at 15 if the probe messes up the micro, 20 or 21 if he doesn't, and then you can quickly take a third base here. But on the latter edition of Tal'Darim Altar, the rocks are here at the third, forcing the extension to this far away base or over here, both of which are not really good options. We do see that IMNestea has shut down the pool first, and we'll see if ZenexYong decides to go for the forge or the Nexus first. It looks like he's leaning toward the Nexus. He's letting his minerals stack up quite high, and this is going to be a fairly safe move. Yong knows that he can delay the Zerglings of IMNestea by dropping a pylon right here. They'll have to kill that, otherwise they'll fall behind economically. And with the slowlings, they're just not going to get over here in time to actually get up there before the forge comes down. We do see here some cute probe micro. IMNestea is trying to get the pylon to get the hatchery down, but with just one drone, Yong can stop the hatchery from going down for a while. I'm kind of surprised IMNestea chased him off that far, but the hatchery does go down at 15 for IMNestea. No real surprise there. Meanwhile, Yong does have the forge going down. This is going to keep him very safe from any sort of Zerglings, especially the 2 to 4 that Zergs normally get in this situation, especially if he just drops the cannon right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Yong drop a pylon over here to sort of try and narrow this gap down. It looks like he's just going to instead do so with the gateway, maybe dropping the cannon here. That's going to provide coverage of this only entrance into the base. Yong can also always just drop a pylon here to temporarily wall it off. Meanwhile, IMNestea is actually getting a very early gas. The standard in this matchup seems to be more toward taking the quick third. Even if this is really far away, with decent creep spread, you can get coverage there so that spore crawlers can go up in time, your queen can be there in time, and that'll be enough to deal with DPs or Stargate follow-ups, both of which can be quite deadly to a low-tech Zerg. But instead, IMNestea has gotten this gas, but he's not mining off of it. I wonder if it was just something to sort of free up some supply, maybe get an extra set of Zerglings out. I'm not 100% sure. We do see IMNestea checking out this third base to make sure that there's no probe hiding there. We do see that he's taking that quick third. Yong actually does not have any scouting presence on the map. IMNestea has this overlord here, so he's going to be able to see if a probe tries to run out. IMNestea can always intersect with the, I believe, 4 Zerglings, only 2 Zerglings that he has on the map. I'd like to see IMNestea sort of try and take control of the Zelnog Watchtower, then he would know that this probe is coming out there, but I think he's going to move the Zergling there right now, and we'll see if he actually sees it. He does not. He actually missed the Watchtower, and the probe is actually going to be skirting by. This queen is going to get over there and should reach there in time to, well, actually, no, it might not get there in time. We'll see if Yong is able to deny the expansion either with a cannon, maybe a very delayed cannon or something like that. I don't think that IMNestea actually saw the probe go over there just because of how precise Yong was with his actions, but this queen might have been able to see the probe. I'm kind of curious to see what Yong is going to do. But back in Yong's base, we see him getting a quick +1 ground weapons. He's probably not going to be going for any sort of Stargate play, as that would kind of be counterproductive. He is getting a Zealot and chrono boosting out Warp Gate, probably pointing to some. Maybe he's going to get a couple +1 Zealots and go here and try and take out the third. That's a very popular organ in this build. It forces the Zerg to make Zerglings in excess rather than droning up as they'd like to do. You can see IMNestEa's continuing to make drones. He's actually currently up 36 to 31. That'll be in the mid-40s pretty soon. And meanwhile, IMNestEa is also getting his second gas. He's going to start mining from this fairly soon, as well as getting his Roachborn to deal with any type of aggression coming from Yong. These roaches are actually going to be very effective with the Zealot pressure that's going to be coming, and IMNestEa can actually see the +1 on the forge, so I'm guessing that's why he dropped out the Roachborn. It'll be I don't know if they'll actually get there in time, but the Zerglings will be able to hold off the Zealots for the roaches to get there. Yong has also thrown down an additional 3 wolf gates, bringing them up to 4 gates in total. He's also on 3 gas, so I would expect to see him throw down another couple of gateways unless he wants to go for a very sentry-heavy army. But we do see the 2 Zealots from ZenexYong are moving out. IMNestEa does spot it with the Zerglings. He does have 3 roaches on the way. That's going to be more than enough to take these Zealots out with proper micro. IMNestEa is just powering up. He's now up 14 workers, which is a pretty good amount. He's making 7 roaches now just to make sure that he's going to be safe against the pressure that Yong is putting on him with this delayed 4 gate. He's actually dropped this pylon over here. We'll see. IMNestEa does have vision of it. He's going to be prepared to stop this. I don't think that Yong is going to be able to do any sort of significant direct damage to him, but he might be able to. Just forcing those roaches is going to be enough. He's actually warping in all Zealots, which means that the 8 roaches that IMNestEa has with another 3 on the way are going to be more than enough to take this out. I'm kind of surprised that he's actually making those 18 Zerglings, but I guess he just wants to be completely safe. This is a ladder game. It's very likely that Yong could. He is forced to pull the drones off, but with all of these Zerglings coming out here, it should be more than enough to take out all of this army. You see that IMNestEa is losing a few drones. He only lost 2, I suppose. It's not that big of a deal. But, you know, some economic damage is better than none. So IMNestEa has been forced into making 11 roaches and 19 lings. That's all larvae that could have been into drones. We do see him making 14 drones right now. It's going to give him the economic boost. Yet again, he's also taking a gas at his natural and a 2 gases, at his third, pointing toward maybe getting some sort of mutalistic tech. I can see that being very popular. It's a gas-heavy build, and we do see him getting the lair as well as an Evo chamber. So we'll have to wait and see what tech he decides to go with after the lair finishes, but the 6 gases pointing to probably Mutalists coming out. Meanwhile, on ZenexYong's side, we do see him getting 2 Stargates and Chrono boosting out Void Rays. This is a build I've actually seen more and more often where where Protoss players are getting these 2 Stargates after some sort of early gateway pressure, after they get these 4 gateways. I don't know how much I like it. I really prefer the build that Elfie did against Idra and IM Guangzhou, where he got the 2 Stargates immediately after the Cyber Core. He put on heavy pressure with Phoenixes and Void Rays to keep Idra in his base, and then he transitioned into a Robotics Bay Colossus army with gateway support, and Idra, having been forced into Hydras by the 2 Stargate pressure, was really unable to defend against it. I would prefer that much more than this, but we'll see how this build actually works out. Yong is getting the Robo facility. He's preparing for the late game or mid to late game army that he wants, which is going to have either Immortals or Colossus based on what sort of composition IMNestEa goes. Another interesting thing to note is IMNestEa's creep spread is very good. He's almost connected his second and his third. I'm kind of surprised he did actually take down these third rocks, so expect an expansion from IMNestEa soon. We also see him going for a Spire, and he's getting down a Hydra Den. It's kind of interesting. I think he wants these as a sort of transient defense against the air that he's seeing, these 4 Void Rays coming in until the Spire can come out and successfully defend against that. We also see 2 Evo chambers going on with +1 range attack and roach speed coming out, so I think he's going to try and use the Mutalist as harassment while he builds up his real army. We do see that IMNestEa has lost one machine already, and some of these Overlords are going to go down. The Smoke Crawlers are not up at the natural yet. He's actually going to be losing a lot of that, but the Hydralists are on their way out, and as soon as those are out, they should be able to clean up these Void Rays. Yong is continuing to build Phoenix production. At a certain point, the Phoenixes are going to be able to pick out Hydralists by lifting them up, and we'll see if the hatchery is actually going down. 4 fully charged Voiders are coming down. IMNestEa is the supply block. The natural hatchery is actually going to go down. That's kind of a big deal. For IMNestEa, you should be able to re-expand there fairly soon. But where are the Hydralists? The Hydralists are just popping up, but they're stuck behind the Queen. They move over right now. We'll see how much damage they can do to this right now. They're just continually, Yong is just continually taking out these Overlords. Yong is having a fair amount of full control there. He finally lifts them, but I don't think it's going to be enough. IMNestEa just has enough Hydralists to do damage to the Voiders, which are really the damage dealers here, and then you can eventually take out these Phoenixes as they run out of energy for lift. He is going to be able to take out a significant amount of Overlords. Nestea is supply blocks, but he's making 9 Overlords right now, which is going to be enough to put him back in the for supply. His Spire is done. He has 1,000 gas banked up. We'll see if he decides to get Mutalisk, which he probably is going to avoid actually because of the Phoenix production. I'm sure he knows that it's off of 2 Stargates, and 2 Stargate Phoenix, if it's begun to be... we also have an attack in the front, but I think Yong is going to be okay holding it off. There's 2 cannons holding it off, as well as the Phoenix is coming in to pick up roaches, so it is going to push back Yong. Sorry, it's going to push back Nestea, but it's a respite that Nestea really needed. He really needs to re-expand to the natural, probably to the 3rd. I don't really think that Yong is going to be prepared to deal with this Hydra push. If Nestea goes fairly quickly, he's just putting down his Robotics Bay, which means the Colossus tech is going to be very delayed. He is continuing to make Phoenix production, but with enough Hydralisks, if Nestea masses them up, and they're going to be +2/+1, it's going to be enough to take out the army, especially because it looks like Nestea is going to be adding on some type of Spire tech. I would guess Corruptors, because Mutalisk will just be shredded apart by the Phoenixes that Yong has. He currently is at 8. He's making another... Oh, he's not making any more. But those 8 Phoenixes will be able to do terrible damage to the Mutalisk if Nestea decides to go that route. So I don't expect to see him do so. I expect to see Corruptors. They're very, very good against Phoenixes if you can force the engagement, as they don't take they're armored, so they don't take extra damage from the Phoenixes as likely. We do see the Phoenixes coming in right now, doing harassment, killing as many drones as they can, but the Hydras are coming in. They might be able to actually take out one. No, he's able to escape, but these Hydras are going to prove devastating if they can hit before there's too many Colossus. It looks like the first Colossus is halfway out, and we have extended thermal lance researching as well. Nestea hasn't expanded to his 3rd base. He's currently he's going to be even on bases with the Protoss player who's taken his normal 3rd base, I guess. I'd like to see some sort of a wall off here, because Nestea should be able to spread the Protoss player out pretty thin by doing some Zergling counterattacks here while forcing an attack at the natural as well. The Phoenixes, meanwhile, are maintaining air control. They're going to be able to take out any sort of overlords that are on the map, denying Nestea the vision that he so desperately desires. Nestea does have this Zergling over here that's going to tell him if an attack is coming from this angle, and he does have control of the watchtower, which will tell him if an attack is coming from the main rim. So I suppose he still has a vision. We do see +2/+2 coming for Nestea. I don't really think that this Roach Hydra army with such a heavy proportion of Hydralisks is exactly what Nestea needs. The Colossus count is building up. It's at 1 with the 2nd about halfway completed. Nestea needs to hit now, but even then I don't think that's going to be enough. The Hydralisks aren't going to be able to do enough damage before the Colossus is ripping them apart. There aren't enough Roaches to buff for the damage, so I think Nestea needs to pull back, get the 4th up, transition into Corruptors, and then maybe do a Roach Hydra Corruptor mix, with throwing these Hydralisks away, maybe in some sort of drops to pull the Protoss army apart. Meanwhile, we do see some more harassment going on by Yong. I don't really like it. I mean, he's going to be taking a lot of damage on these Phoenixes. He's down to only 6 from 8. He lost 2 in that assault. We do see Yong adding another Robotics Bay. He's going to be going to 2 Robo Bay Colossus production, which is going to be very effective against the Roach Hydra army of Nestea, but we see that Nestea has transitioned into Corruptors. He only has 3 or 4 of them right now, and he'll be at 5, which isn't going to be enough to deal with the 3 Colossus of Yong before they do a terrible damage to the Hydralisk army of Nestea. But we'll see if he can set up some type of a nice flank to do the damage he needs. He's going to be attacking the 3rd, which I like, because the natural is just too far walled off, but Yong actually has 3 cannons set up. This is going to be enough to do a lot of damage to Nestea's army, as the ground army of Yong is also doing the damage. This means that Nestea is not going to be able to engage into this position. It means he's going to have to pull back, probably go into a macro game, maybe pick up the Broodlords or something of the like, so that he can engage the Protoss Deathball head on. He's getting in. It's almost done. This is what he needs to transition to the hive deck. He's actually engaging right now. I don't know if I like this. The 3 Colossus in the back are doing a lot of damage. The Corruptors are having to focus on the Phoenix rather than the Colossi. All of the Colossi are. The first one goes down, but the damage done to the army is very, very high right now. The Hydras are actually just kind of milling around the back, not doing that much damage. It supplies Nestea is up 177 to 120, but Yong is able to replenish with the more cost-efficient army, and Nestea's army is actually just going to be completely cleaned up. You see that Nestea has restocked with more Roaches and Corruptors, which is what he needs. We see that most of the Phoenixes are gone, which means the second wave of army from IMNestea is probably going to be effective in breaking Yong's back. He's going to be able to take out the Phoenixes and the 2 remaining Colossi very, very quickly. Meanwhile, Yong has transitioned into Immortal production, which will be very effective against the Roach-heavy army of IMNestea, but we'll see if IMNestea recognizes this and supplements with some Hydralisks to deal with the Immortals. IMNestea really needs to be taking a 4th base, or 5th base right now. He's basically mined out at his main, and his natural is running low on resources as well. In terms of drones, we see 79 to 66. I'm sure IMNestea would like a little bit more than that, although maybe not, because the Protoss army is just simply so cost effective. He needs a lot of resources and supply. I do like that IMNestea isn't overmaking Corruptors, whether this is because he knows that his opponent has stopped making Colossus, or simply because he doesn't have the money for it, I don't know. But the first engagement is happening, another engagement is happening right now. The Colossus are going to go down to the Corruptors. I'd like for IMNestea to pull back the Roaches. These people are sacrificing them right now. The Corruptors have killed the Colossi, but now the Immortals, the 3 Immortals, are doing terrible damage to the Roaches of IMNestea. IMNestea is plummeting in supplies down to 150 and streaming into units piecemeal. He needs to regroup here and maybe engage at that point. Meanwhile, Yong is using this time to take this expansion. He's going to be able to defend it and everything else very easily, just sort of in this area, so he can expand close to his opponent. Meanwhile, IMNestea has to expand away and has a much larger surface area to defend. IMNestea is regrouping. He's making Hydralisks. He's recognized that he's going to need those against the Immortal. He's also teching up to a hive. It's about 2/3 of the way finished. I think he's going to be going for Greater Spire Tech, which is going to be really, really good against the Immortals and the Blinkstalkers, as long as he doesn't allow the Blinkstalkers to just blunk underneath them and take out the Broodlords, which with enough Broodlords can be prevented. In terms of upgrades, Yong is going to be getting +3 ground weapons. He has +1 armor already, and IMNestea is on +2/+2. He's getting Pathogen Glands, which is going to be useful for keeping the Blinkstalkers in place as the Broodlords rain down destruction on them, but we'll see what IMNestea decides to do exactly. I think he needs to get to that Greater Spire Tech as soon as possible, but Yong actually has a really nice timing window right now with the 6 Immortals and all the Blinkstalkers. He should be able to do significant damage to this tiny army of IMNestea. IMNestea, actually, in army size, we see that he only has about 30 supply more than Yong does, but a lot of that is in the supply inefficient Roaches, so we're going to see IMNestea needing to sort of delay Yong from attacking, and I think Yong is going to do this just because he's been taking this 4th base, but I don't know if this is going to work out for Yong if he doesn't attack right now. The Greater Spire is going to be able to do significant amounts of damage to this army. IMNestea's 4th base, I suppose, is up and running. He has started to take his 5th in the upper right portion of the map. The one thing that I'd have to be critical of for Yong play is he doesn't really seem to have any observers. He does have one, but he's not using it to take out any of this creep, which is something that, it gives IMNestea vision of exactly where Yong's army is. And that Yong has actually began to produce Colossus again. He has 2 out, another 2 on the way, and IMNestea's 6 Corruptors are not going to be able to take that out quickly enough for IMNestea's army to survive the onslaught and then take out the ground support army of Yong. So he's going to need to make some more Corruptors. Fortunately, he's going to be, well, he would do that if he had the supply, but he's currently maxed out. He needs to do some sort of multi-pronged harass so he can do a little bit of damage with these units before he transitions into the Broodlord. He's actually going to be delaying his Broodlord tech a little bit because of the fact that he hasn't lost any of these units, and instead what he's opting to do is make a Spine Crawler wall somewhere. We're looking to see wherever engagement is being forced to moving units needlessly, and we see that he's actually making a Spine Crawler wall under his 4th, which is good. 6 Broodlords are also on the way. This is just a game of delaying right now. If IMNestea gets out those Broodlords with the Infestors, they should be enough to do damage to this army. IMNestea's doing a lot of damage to the army before the Colossus get there. He actually fumbles the Colossus, which would be a perfect time to go back and engage, but instead he's allowing the army to walk up into the main. There's only 2 Spine Crawlers here that are going to be doing damage. The Broodlords are up, they're almost morphed, but the Stalkers are right underneath them. They're taking them out. 1 goes down, 2 goes down, 3 goes down. Only 3 of them are alive, but that one gets killed instantly, and the 4th, so all of the Broodlords are dead. Now IMNestea is engaging in a horrible stroke, whereas all of his units are clumped up. The Colossus are going to be able to kill everything because they're funneled into the Spine Crawlers. IMNestea is making 8 more Corruptors, 11 Roaches, and 3 Infestors, but that's just not going to be enough to deathfall this side of IMNestea's base. He's going to be able to take out all of the, probably both this base and the main, all the production destroyed. This looks like it's going to be GG for IMNestea. He's down 40 supply. He's trying to make any unit that he can right now, but it's just not going to be proven up. This 5th base is completely is not being used to mine at all. Yong is reinforcing the Stalkers, and IMNestea's reinforcements are just not coming in fast enough or in big groups enough, so they're all being picked off without doing any real damage, and IMNestea GG's out.